I want to share with you the history of the town that's been affectionately called Gabriella. There's a lot of history in a short amount of time with the man who bought the property and fulfilled a dream. He had a dream and he went after it, and he dedicated that property to a very special individual. And as time progressed, his own story changed. And there is such an appeal for this property, and I want to make sure to share his story and the story of his family. Hey there everyone, thank you for joining me for another episode of Comeback Journey and stepping into this very unique story with me. I'm so honored, like I said, to be able to share Mr. Larry's story and how special it is that he went after his dream. So as I mentioned in episode 1, and if you didn't catch that one, I'll link it up here and I'll also put it in the description because there's a lot of footage of this unique town. I was staying in Aragon, New Mexico, and I took Highway 12 to Catron County. And from there, you take a dirt road about 9 miles, and they do an amazing job of keeping their dirt roads up as opposed to Louisiana. Smooth, man, you can run 45, 50 miles an hour, which makes that portion of the trip really fast. Except for the last couple of miles where I don't know what it is about New Mexico, but they have these. It's almost like the deepest cattle gap after cattle gap after cattle gap. And you have to go so slow, so it makes that portion of the journey even longer. But the treasure that was at the end of the dirt road, man, awesome. That's why I want to share this story. So as I mentioned, this gentleman's name is Mr. Larry Iams. And he's a California transplant who had a dream to fulfill in New Mexico. So he bought this property in New Mexico, and his dream and his plan was to build a town, the town of Gabriella. Now what's so special and unique about the name of the town is he had a granddaughter who passed in infancy, and it affected him very much. He wanted to honor his granddaughter by fulfilling that dream and building a town in her namesake. The goodness that came out of him going ahead and stepping into that dream, and how it's touched so many lives and continues to touch lives like it touched mine. That's why I had to share this story. The people, the community, your neighbors in New Mexico, man, they come together and they band together. They don't even have to know you, and they'll come to your rescue, or they'll offer their services, and that's exactly what happened. When he and his wife, Mr. Larry and his wife, moved out there, his community offered to help with the construction of his dream. Even while he was in grief and really torn up, it affected not just his immediate family, it was widespread. In any loss it has that kind of effect. But they rallied around. It took 2 years to build this city, or this town. 18 buildings, a saloon, a hotel, a woodworking shop, a stable, all of the things that you need for a western town. Here's the really cool part. He actually had producers from a couple of movies reach out to him to film scenes inside of his western town. So he completed it in 2 years. He bought this property in the 90s. He completed it in 2 years, and it was ready to go, I believe, by the early 2000s, I think 2001. And he had producers reaching out to film movies or TV shows, and a couple of them were filmed there, which is phenomenal. And then here comes another sad situation. His wife actually passed away, and it devastated Mr. Larry. The community again rallied around. They had been hosting for several years 4th of July activities. They'd have bands come in. They would host a meal. People would come and kind of camp and just have a good time. In a good way. Thanksgiving meals. They started hosting Thanksgiving meals, a community meal. Amazing to come together for those special holidays, and of course Christmas as well. So the community continued to get more and more tight-knit and share their hearts. But then Mr. Larry's wife passed away, and guess what? The community came in to pick up where he didn't have the emotional strength and energy to keep moving forward. But eventually, that all kind of dwindled away. And then Mr. Larry actually had to move away from the property. And Mr. Larry is, right now, he's still alive, but he's not able to care for the property. And that's why it was brought up for sale. And when I saw this property listed, my heart leapt because of my dream. I want to host healing events. And how cool would it be to be inside of an old Western town, be able to have people stay in actually the old hotel, or even in the saloon, because there was a second floor where there was actually a living quarters area. I mean, he took great care. There was even a jail. I mean, how much fun could you have in a old Western town, letting loose, enjoying history, sharing community, because it's already a community space, and just being blessed by what Mr. Larry said yes to. He stepped into his yes, even though he had setbacks, even though he had things that tried to defeat him and keep him in a raw place. It is in the pursuit of our dreams that we can get more healing. We can see what we're capable of. We can honor those that we may have lost or that are distanced from us. And we can be proud to know that we're stepping into our divine identity, because he's left a mark. The generational continuance. Even though I'm not part of his generation, the other people who come to look at his property are not in his generation. He's continuing his generational impact. So, I want to share more of the footage with you now and talk about some more details. To do.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love the concept. But a lot of work to do. Mr. Larry didn't say no, even though he ran up against obstacles to his yes. His dream did not die because of a lack of vision. He still had the vision. What did happen was it dimmed because he lost his person. He lost Miss Janet, his wife. Miss Janet was right there with him as he was building out this dream. So he had a shared partner in this. And sometimes when the partnership that we have inside of our dream is split or pulled away, it can impact us so much that it's hard to have the zest again. And it was okay. Hello. Interruption from the doggies. Anyway, Sometimes we get affected so deeply that we have to know that it's time to let go. It's time to let somebody pick up. Here's my question for you. Who's standing with you inside of your yes? Who's your partnership with? It's okay if it just seems to be you, because it's not just you. It's you and the Lord. Who knows the dream? Who's standing beside you as you're building the dream? Is that the support system you need? Are they lifting you up? Even if they're just praying into your dream. Who's going to keep showing up inside of your saloon, even when you don't have the strength to keep building on it? Who's going to be there? Because Mr. Larry had that. He had a community rally around him. When he was full of strength, when he was minus strength, when he was full of vision and drive, and when he had to pull back. Who's your community? If you're in the yes space right now, if you stepped into a yes, or you feel a pull to step into a yes space, let me know. Tell me in the comments. And if you haven't gotten over to the yes series that I've been working on, go watch those. I'll put those in the description as well. Before you take another step inside of your yes, inside of your dream, let's talk. We need to talk about what's costing you, what's supporting you, how to fully say yes and recognize that this is the yes space for you.